Yes, I am here in Nairobi at the Elephant at the third edition of the NBO for Nairobi Musical Theatre Initiative Workshop, which was in part initiated with the lady I'm sitting with. It was started by Eric Wainaina, Sheba Hirst, and you, Roberta Levitow. So please tell me what you know about Eric and how you got here.
Well, this is a project 18 years in the making. This is a moment 18 years in the making. I first came to East Africa to run an East African theater workshop with the Ford Foundation and the Center for International Theater Development, an American company, in 2001. I'm pretty sure I met Eric during that visit because I was here for 6 weeks. And then I came back in 2007 with a grant, and then I'm quite sure that Eric drove up to the Go Down with a truck full of artists and musicians, and this was the truck he was using to take Kwamaji on tour around the country, and they performed at the Go Down in one of their rehearsal rooms, a section of that. So I've known him for a number of years now, and at one point I was assigned the dramaturg on a project that he was developing for the Sundance Institute Theater Program's East Africa Initiative, which was an initiative to do exposure and exchange between U.S. and East African theater artists over a period of about 12 years.
Wow.
And Eric is an alumnus of our program, and I was assigned to be his dramaturg. And we worked on a project, a musical theater project, which actually was him wanting to evolve the book of Kwamaji. So at some point after that, we're closing now towards 2014, 2015, he said, I want to do something that both takes my work forward but shares the possibility of musical theater for all of my artistic colleagues in Kenya and maybe even in countries outside Kenya, in the region, and maybe Pan-Africa. He believes strongly, and I certainly am convinced, that this mixture of music and storytelling, that there's just unbelievable potential here for artists to make that weaving together for theater performances. So I said yes. I came in November of 2016 on my way to NYU Abu Dhabi. And I stopped in Nairobi for 2 weeks, and there were 15 writers, and we just developed some ideas for
15.
Potential projects with 15 writers. So
all Kenyans.
All Kenyans. And when I came home, I thought to myself, musical theater, gee, I can dramaturg that, but I'm not the expert. So I reached out to my colleagues at the NYU Musical Theater Writing Program in New York. And I found my friend Deborah Vort was teaching writing. She introduced me to the program, to Fred Carl, who's my colleague here leading this workshop. And they came in June 2018. So two years later, we were able to make that happen, for them to come. And now it's 50 people. In June, it was 50 people, including all these musicians that Eric could reach out to. There was someone like Fred, who's a composer and could really open up this genre, this way of putting music and story together. And that momentum was terrific. It was a catalytic event. And I think for all the artists, it was inspiring. And Eric said, we got to keep going. So I applied for a grant. I got grant money to come, and Eric said, we'll figure out a way. And here we are in January of 2019.
Amazing.
And we hope to just keep going and keep going.
So this is the third edition of this workshop.
This is the third official workshop for this initiative. Yes.
So what is going on here at the Elephant?
You know, it has a kind of a artistic retreat feeling. We've got almost 50 artists, musicians, writers, collaborators. They are meeting on 11 different projects. They go to a rehearsal room, one of the rooms in the building, every day, and they work for hours together. creating more and more material for their projects. So the theme for this workshop has been, what is the music doing?
Oh.
And so we're really focusing for these 2 weeks on the music. What is the music? What's it doing? What does it do to the audience? How does it move your story forward? More music. And so it's just thrilling. We listen to music all the time. We have lunch together and we talk about various things, not in any formal way, but in that unofficial way that people get to know each other and talk about process. Then after lunch, we have been having these short mentorship sessions. Everybody gathers in the one large room, and Fred or I will talk about tools that we use, concepts about musical theater, we have listening sessions where he will play a sequence or a song. We listened to songs from Hamilton and talked about how the songs from Hamilton communicated beyond the narrative. They communicate in their own language, the language of music. And so those are stimulating. Everybody's really told us they're very grateful for just some new ways of looking at things. And then they go back to work and they work on their material again. And then at the end of the day, around 5 o'clock on most days, we've said, open sharing. Come and share something that you created in the past 24 hours. And people play a song. You were there yesterday. You saw people play what they're working on. It's very informal. And now we're coming to, sadly, for all of us who've loved being together for 2 weeks, we're coming to the end of the 2 weeks. And today is our final sharing. Tomorrow there will be feedback sessions, and we'll meet with each team, Fred and I, and we'll talk about where their project is at, what might be their next steps. And hopefully, this is the fingers crossed part, we're hoping that people will continue over the next 4 months. Because if they can keep writing and keep developing their projects going forward, Fred and Deb will be back in June.
Really?
And so then it'll be time for the next step. And we're already starting to think about adding directors, and then over the next year or so, companies, and so we have big plans.
Eric said something about 2020. Do we have to wait till 2020?
Well, that's possible. You know, my dear colleague, Deborah Simwe from the Kampala International Theater Festival is here today. She flew in from Kampala just to see our sharings. And she and I were starting to plot that there could be a session at the Kampala International Theater Festival in November that would focus on the works in progress of this initiative. So little by little, practice with audiences, and then maybe, there'll be the moment when they get stronger and stronger, each project, and we'd love to see an East African Musical Theater Festival in Nairobi within a couple of years. That goes global, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Roberta. It's a real privilege to have met you and to hear your wonderful thoughts.
Thank you.